Welcome to Music as a Day Job, where we turn music into a day job and we get this money. You already know what time it is. I'm your host, Sean, and I'm also the CEO of Concert. Concert is an app that is an artist accelerator that takes artists from opener to headliner to touring artists and gives the fan the best experience in independent music shows in the world. Um, so, the question of the day is, how often should I release music? I'm the wrong person to ask for this. like, I'm gonna tell you the truth, like because it's so many conflicting ideas to this. Like, I've been to labels where they'll tell you, "Hey, you're just releasing too much music. You're doing too much focus on something." And then I've heard people say, "Release as much as possible because you don't know what's gonna hit." So you got both ideas. Now, in this conversation, I'm going to give you some ideas that may fit you better. Because I wouldn't want to give you a definitive answer and then you feel like, well, Sean told me to do this. No, Sean didn't tell you to do that. Sean told you what do you think fits you best in this idea. Because now you're sitting on both sides of this. You have people that are going to release as much as possible, and they're going to just constantly release music and constantly release music and constantly release music to see what can hit. Then you have people who are going to wait and take a specific shot. Now, both of them have their negatives to it because I watch artists that wait too long and lose their buzz. They can lose their buzz because people were waiting for something and never got it, and they're not feeding their audience, and then they become perfectionists. And there is no such thing as perfect, but they just keep trying to tweak and keep trying to tweak, and they never move because they keep trying to tweak. On the other end, you have people who are going to oversaturate themselves possibly. And when you oversaturate yourself, that's when your consumer just starts going like, they're just releasing another song. What I like to say is this, which I haven't been the greatest in my career of, is finding that middle ground. I've been on both sides. At points in my career, music video wise, I was over here and I was just release, 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 release. I wanted a video for every song I made. Later in my career, I didn't make enough music. So it was like I had the option to make more music, but I just wasn't the greatest at consistently making music. I know people that are in the studio all day, and that's what my problem was, is that I should be honing my craft and doing more music because I'd be better at it. Now, I've had an amazing career, but at the same pace, you never know what could happen if I actually had buckled down and really tried to make music all the time and really tried to hone in on my craft like that. So, and that's my fault, so I blame myself for it. Where I'd say you should be is finding that middle ground where you know that the quality and quantity make sense to you. So, how much can you put out that people are responding to at the same time? And people want more. So, you have to feed your consumer at the same pace. You have to make sure you don't like run yourself trying to feed a consumer something that you can't keep up with. Because nothing's worse than giving out a good product and you can't replicate the product because it takes so much to constantly do this product. So you have to find out where you can replicate the product at a rate that makes sense to you and your lifestyle at the same pace, keeping the consumer going like, yeah, this is a rate I like and this is the rate I want. For instance, which is an amazing, like I always tell people, like always study 50 Cent because everything he does is very like next level with how he's thinking. One of the things, if you look at Power, and he's willing to make 4 or 5 spinoffs, and it's like he'll make 4 or 5 spinoffs that are all amazing. It doesn't like sink anywhere. So he's making a product that he's figured out how to make it consistently more than other TV shows, but it stays up at the quality level better than other TV shows. And so he's figured it out, you know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to figure out. You have to figure out, how are you making quality music, releasing quality product consistently that people go like, man, this is comparative to the top notch, and then at the same pace you can replicate it quick enough to constantly put it out, and they go like, hey, I'm getting a lot of it, and so I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the piece that you want to find, that you want to find that middle ground with, is you want to be in that space where you go like, yo, people want to see this all the time, and so I'm gonna keep making it and I can make it. So that's how you should kind of, that's the rule of thumb of how much music you should release, which didn't really tell you much in the gist of an exact number of how much music you should release, but it does tell you how you can find a middle ground of what makes sense, because everyone's story is different. If you're not a person that can constantly make music, then yeah, you want to find a ground that makes more sense. Like, if you're not writing the music, you have a writer, you're going to have to find good songs, so it's going to take you longer. If you're a writer, then you can write music all the time. If you can record yourself, you can make more music. If you can't record yourself, you have to spend money for other people to record it. If you don't have that money, then you have to find a timeline that makes sense for that. So base it off your budget and what you can actually do productively yourself, and then make the decision. And even if it's like, how do you want your music to be held at? Like, I can, at points in my career, I felt like every song was a piece, and I'm going to build the dopest video and everything around it. And so I want a video that looks amazing like this, and I want a song that sounds amazing like this. So then every piece is a piece. It's like a Jordan shoe, and I'm going to drop one a month, and this Jordan shoe is going to drop, and it's going to make people feel like this for this moment in time. I'm going to promote it for a full month out. And now make sure you add that in, that how much time did you have to promote it? Because some people just go all the way up and be like talking about the song all the time and drop the song, and then you never hear nothing again. You have to go all the way up, and then you have to go all the way out. After the song's out, you have to constantly keep promoting, constantly keep promoting. There's some people that don't even get on for another year and then promoting from the same song they dropped a year ago. So you want to keep that situation where you understand how much you can do, how much you can promote it, how much you can push, and just find that median with what your career is. And then, you know what I'm saying, don't be like me and just be like, hey, man, it is what it is. Like, people still like, because see, the thing with, I'll give you a little bit of what happened with me. I got into a space where, one thing, because I'm heavy on doing shows, that's what paid for my lifestyle. So I know that everybody hasn't heard my song. So I could keep promoting these same songs and performing these same songs, because every time I'm in a new city, none of these people have ever heard it. So by the time I get to the fifth time that they've heard it, they're still feeling like, yo, I need to hear it again. Because, like, look at the big songs that big artists has. Like, you're guaranteed that Snoop Dogg is going to perform Gin and Juice. And that song came out in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So then who am I to say this song that came out in 2016, I shouldn't still be performing in 2023? You see what I'm saying? So then in that, but I went so far with it because I got caught up in the business side of everything. Like, my business side of, like, even building concert and building things like that, and building like a company that I could have a company that built my sponsorships and controlled my sponsorships for me, so they weren't directly to me and my business partner. Those were the things I was more focused on, and actually create music, which I would I would lean on the music that I did create, and I'd be like, hey, I'm just going to squeeze it all out of that music. So that's where my life was at the time. So then that's what I'm saying. Build where your life is. I wouldn't listen to all these other people, because everyone's going to say something opposite to you. Somebody's going to be like, yeah, you got to release a song a week. And maybe you're Russ. Maybe you need to release a song a week. And then some people are going to say, hey, man, you need to release like a song once every 2 months and really pound it and make it the best song you ever made. So figure out what's best for you. Just figure out what's best for you. And that's my advice to you, is that you find that median in there and figure out what's best for you. And that's how you get your consumers to pay attention and consistently want to be fed that music.